There he is.
It looked like that went off without a hitch as well.
Yeah, we've having a streak of really good luck here lately. Maybe
That's
they
good
finally got
stuff.
the bugs figured out. They got the bugs worked out of it.
Well, welcome back to Friday Fun Day, which also means the another episode of the Creative Real Estate Mastery Podcast. How are you doing on this fine day, Mr. Coffman?
I am excellent. I just got back off of I did a little bit of traveling this for the past month, and it's been good. So I feel nice and relaxed, nice and refreshed, I guess, if you will. But left you here to deal with all the drama and all the goings on in real estate, and so I appreciate.
Well, it was, yeah. Let's say it was an up and down week. We'll just say that. Can I just say for the record too that we as real estate investors, regardless, we're here in the St. Louis metro area, but regardless of where you are in the country, if you're a real estate investor, we need to band together and fight back against these goddamn municipalities and counties with all this permit requirement bullshit. Utter and complete nonsensical, ridiculous bullshit.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
You've heard me say this before a million times, but we tend to. It doesn't matter if it's real estate or whatever. Government tends to I'm going to sound like a complete asshole here, but government tends to cater to the weak. We have to take our weakest our weakest link, and we have to elevate it, and that becomes our standard. And that's what I find, and it's so prevalent in the real estate world. And then you throw in the mix that the fact that in our area we have 86 or 89 different municipalities. Every single one of them have different rules.
Yeah,
and it is you just want to pull your eyeballs out and just like. And by the way, there's no standard.
No,
one of these
that's what,
they have.
And there's no getting the same answer twice from anybody.
Right.
I even called down there
Yeah.
and specifically asked. Now, the office lady is the one that you talk to, right? The admin assistant, whoever that is out front. But when the inspector gets there, it's 180 degrees completely different. Oh, yeah, that's not right.
Yeah.
Well, why in the shit am I being told something completely wrong?
Yeah.
Like, what? Help me wrap my head around that, Mr. Inspector.
Yeah, it's for people that aren't in that aren't really like I rehab houses, but I don't rehab I do little small jobs, and so if you're not really up on all the different like Nazi standards and all that stuff, I mean, man, it can be a real headache. And I think it's just something that for those of you that are looking to get into this business and make a run at it, I think you ought to just understand that you are going to have to deal with this stuff at some point. I don't care if you're a wholesaler or not. I've said this a million times too. At some point, you're going to get into you're going to want to move past wholesaling. You're going to get into actually owning assets, and with owning those assets comes there's a lot of headache.
Occupancy, you have to have occupancy. So
a lot of places don't have to do that. That's very. There's very few cities out there that do that. It's just around here. That's a major hurdle. It is a massive hurdle, and these occupancy inspections are crazy.
And of course, they wrap themselves, talking about the government, they wrap themselves up in it's about the safety and security of the buyer. We have to make sure they're protected. Bullshit. It's not about the safety and security advisory. It's about how much money you can get out of me for going through your stupid ass hoops that have nothing to do with safety and security, by the way.
Yeah.
The fact that there's an outlet every 6 inches in the kitchen isn't a safety and security issue.
Mhm.
Like, oh, sorry.
Well, my favorite one, I could
The
understand.
purpose of government is
Yeah.
infrastructure, safety, and security, right? But don't tell me having an outlet 6 inches away from another outlet. God.
Well, my favorite one is is window screens. You know, you have a little pinhole in a window screen. You know, maybe over the years the sun has deteriorated. Like, okay, so you're telling me a window screen makes a property like you can't occupy a home with a pinhole in a window screen? That's, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like that. It's
Oh,
just totally random.
my favorite is you have to have the window screens.
Yeah.
Right? We just did a unit here. We just did a condo unit here too, and it had no screens anywhere.
Hmm.
And he said, "Well, you have to have screens on there." And the inspector looks at me, and I said, "Why?" He goes, "Well, it's a safety and security issue. You know, if you're trying to get out." I said, "Did you just hear yourself? How is the screen going to help me get out of the window? The screen not being there helps me get out of the window."
Yeah.
Well, it's just our requirement. Show it to me.
Yeah.
Show it to me. Show me the city ordinance that says that's a requirement. Show it to me.
Yeah. Yeah. In some
did,
ways,
I'll be damned if it wasn't.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. In some ways, it's. I mean, I understand why all that stuff is in place. You know, there's certain, there are definitely people that, you know, don't take very good care of their properties. It can really drive down the value of
Ruined
the
it for the
properties in
rest
the
of us.
neighborhood and all that good stuff. But some of this stuff is just outrageous. It's
They just
outrageous.
make shit up as they go along. Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, all right. So
All right, sorry. So we digress. Sorry, thanks for letting me get on my permit soapbox here. But if we all banded together, we could get some real change done. Just the problem is that we don't. We don't fight together as a collective against this stupidity.
yeah, yep, that's true.
So
I've said
anyway,
I've said that since like day one. Like, man, we need to get a group of people together, and just
some class action
pull some
lawsuits
money
against
together and just get a big, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The worst.
Anyway, though, what is on for? Let's get back to our topic today. What's on tap for today, Mr. Coffman?
All right. So, as many of you may or may not know, the idea behind real estate investing, it's a long term play. There's no get rich. There's nothing about this is a get rich scheme at all. Even for wholesalers. I mean, which is not investing, by the way, but it's the start for many people. It's the start of their investing career, and a lot of what we do as real estate investors and wholesalers is we're looking for longevity. We're looking for the kind of the end game. So what we want to talk about today is about how to manage doubt, risk, and burnout as an investor, and how to stay in the game for those long-term gains. So that's where we're headed today. All right, let me pull up my my little notes section here. And first of all, I want to say that all of us have been through the highs and lows of real estate investing, and I want to get this out of the way before we get deeper into the podcast. But I want to talk about the creative real estate fund that we just created here, and we've talked about. I think we talked about it in the last one, but we want to kind of just instill in folks and remind folks that at Sub2 Empire we have this whole ecosystem that we've built, and with running the risk of repeating myself multiple times, which I tend to do if you're not aware. we've created this whole ecosystem that is based around creative real estate investing and creative finance. And our most recent kind of venture into creating this ecosystem was creating this real estate fund. And our fund is it's just different than most funds that you're going to see. Like we are. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen one. If I don't know if you have or not, but I haven't seen one that focuses on the creative side. So I think we've got uh, a very unique offering, and we are still looking for folks. We'll be taking investors on for the foreseeable future. So if you or anyone you know out there is looking to place some funds somewhere, maybe you are not happy with the way one of your investments is performing, and you want to talk to us about improving that performance, increasing those yields. Let us know. Shoot us a message here. You can find us over there on Facebook in the Creative Real Estate Investing Mastery group on Facebook. Just look up Sub2 Empire, and you'll see us. We're the only ones out there with a name like that. And be happy to talk to you guys. All right.
Can I just add to that too? Like, it's always good to diversify your investments. Like that's the main reason people get into real estate. Everybody needs a place to live, right? Let's never forget that. The stock market doesn't give two shits about you,
Yep.
right? But everybody needs a place to live. That's why in diversifying your investments into real estate backed assets, which is what this fund is a good move.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely, I don't, as you know, I don't own any kind of paper stock at all. I, I don't trust it. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in 401ks. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in hard assets, owning things, and things that you can touch and feel, and in the case of real estate, you can walk into. It not only that, but it can create cash flow for you. And so I don't own any of that other stuff. I don't trust it enough the way that I trust real estate. And every single one of our offerings are backed by real estate, and that's what I truly believe in. So give us a shout. We'll be happy to talk to you about it. Let's get into the meat of this podcast here.
Mindset, right? Item number one is mindset. And two, I'm just gonna give we're gonna we are just gonna be shameless plug 101 today. We have a mindset, right? Getting your head right about why do you want to invest in real estate? Whether it's investing with our fund with real estate backed assets or being an actual real estate investor, you fix and flip, buy and hold, whatever you want. Like mindset. Like you can see, we have a whole mindset program about what are your values, what do you want to do in there as well. And I was just state for the record, as a real estate investor, especially if you start out, or even a wholesaler, let's say you start being a wholesaler, let's you have a string of some bad luck or whatever, and shit goes sideways easy. Maybe you're doing a flip. Let's talk about a flip because it's easy for shit to go sideways in a flip. And you have your budget and you have your whole thing here, and you had your $33,416 right rehab budget that you put down to the penny and to the dollar in there too. And by the time it was done, it was $57,412, and you've got zero profit at the end. Hey, guess what? Most people just leave the game, right? They just leave the game after that, right? So it's about persevering and staying in the game. That's what we want to focus on today, as you mentioned, I think, right, Mr. Coffman?
Yeah. I think I don't know a single real estate investor that hasn't experienced that. I've said it in the past, and I've stated it because it's true. Like, I've never really lost money in real estate, unless you consider, if you add in inflation, like on some of these deals. The worst deal that I ever did was the one that I think that you know about, that really uh, it tested the core of who I am.
Yeah.
And, and even on that one, I made $1,200, but it took a year to get that one done. So $1,200 is nothing. I mean, it's $100 a month on average for that year that I owned it. But it's all about it's all about what you're resolved to do. And if you have now there has to be a stopping point. If you're into something, we have that sunk cost. We talk about the sunk cost fallacy. Now, if you're into something, for 2, 3, 4 years, your family's struggling and you can't make ends meet, you might want to consider, at least, at least finding something else to kind of support what you're doing, to support your family, because real estate, you can easily do that in real estate. I don't think people realize how dangerous some of these deals can be, financially. And along with the financial aspect of that, and people say, money doesn't fix everything. No, that's true, but money sure does help a lot. I mean, it sure can help you from getting into those those distressing and kind of emotional low points that you can experience if you're really struggling. And man, there's been more than a handful of times where I just thought, man, what am I doing out here? This is nuts. And luckily for me, I've never really lost any money in real estate. But there have been more than enough times that I've considered, hey, just let's throw in the towel. Let's go get a job. Um, but I think this is very, very common for most investors. Not sure how you feel about that, but
I think it's definitely common, and it's even worse, I think. So if you take me, like I was part-time real estate investor for many years, like working the W-2 job, and I leveraged real estate to get out of my W-2 job early, right? But when you're doing it as, we'll just call it the side hustle, or a part-time, like you're just trying to build your own portfolio,
right.
in addition to your full-time job that you have working for the man, then it's even easier to burn out. And especially if one goes wrong. Let's say you have a rental property and the tenant just destroys the hell out of your property, right? When you're trying to flip over, which happens all the time, by the way. The key in that, maybe we ought to do a podcast about this. The key in that is properly screening and evaluating your potential applicants and all that too. But beyond that, let's just say that happens. Well, people just get the hell out, like, nope, I'm done with this, right? And they're missing it. Yeah, did shit happen? Yes. Could you have done a better job to prevent it? Yes. Did you maybe know that when you were getting into it? No. Like, it's experience. You have to be able to experience it. And it's also who you surround yourself as. That's why we say partner with people that know what they're doing, so you don't have to make those mistakes when you get that first rental property or that second rental property or whatever the case may be, so that you don't get shoved out of the game by making some mistakes. And it's not a mistake to have a rental property, right? That's not the mistake. The mistake was having a bad tenant, right? Maybe not screening the best, but you still have an asset. Right? It may not look like an asset with the holes in the wall and the feces in the corner, but it's still an asset, right? Like you
had to go there.
Yeah, you may have to do some work, but it's still an asset. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, well, let's talk about three primary enemies or the three main enemies that, when we're talking about mindset. Number one, well, I'm going to list them, and then we're going to talk about each one of them. Number one, we've got doubt, risk, and burnout. And like we just kind of explained, as you're going through these hardships and as you're going through these incredibly trying times, and I don't care if you're just starting out in wholesaling, and you're going to have I think doubt. I think out of those three, I think doubt is the number one killer of of these dreams. Is doubt, and that's just simply the fear of failure. That's all that it is, and actually might be a little bit of getting into the unknown, or delving into something that you aren't the best at, and trying to learn it as you go. Which personally for me, that's how I learn. I'm not a huge reader. I don't go out and try and fill my head with book smarts. I'm a doer, and so I learn. Literally, I learn through the school of hard knocks type. That's just the best way that I know how to learn. That's how my brain works. But for instance, wholesalers, you've got to do a ton of marketing. You have to be able to market as a wholesaler. You're not going to make it, flat out. You're just not going to make it if you're not marketing. And so the question becomes, in that case, how do you begin to learn how to be a marketer if you've never done it before? And so there's so much doubt. I think it holds people. That doubt holds people hostage, is what it does, and it just keeps people from taking the next step forward. And this is where I say, if you're going to move to the next step, you kind of have to think like a robot. You kind of just have to go, here's what I'm doing. I'm not going to sit around and think about it. I'm not going to contemplate it. I'm not going to sit and pontificate about the things that could or couldn't, could or might go wrong. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to think like a robot. It's going to be kind of mindless. I'm going to apply some strategy to this, and I'm going to wait and see what happens. And at least that's how I learned how to do it. I didn't, I got tired of not making money at it. So I just you know what, I just gotta do it. I got to take that fear and set it aside and just do it. And it turned out okay for me.
Okay, I'm going to say something that's less than politically correct, but 100% true. You, like, when you're looking around and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to invest in some real estate, and I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know if I'm not as smart as this guy. I just want to say, this is the not politically correct thing too. There are some dumbass, stupid people investing in real estate and making money. No common sense, no anything, and they're making money.
That's
and so if you stop and look around sometimes, or if you go to a RIA meeting, right, and there are some people there that you will just scratch your head about, these people are making money. Now, of course, they could be blowing smoke up your ass, and maybe they're not. But let's assume, for the sake of argument, that yes, they are making some money. It's I guarantee that you're smarter than some of the people in the room. So you can make money at real estate. You just have to pick your channel, right? That's the doubt. That's the self-doubt. Well, I'm not smart enough to do that. I promise you're smarter and have more common sense than a lot of other real estate investors that are making money at the game, right? You just have to make sure that you enter the game on your terms and you do what you can do, right? Your strengths. That's what they've mastered, right? Because you don't have to have an IQ of 150 to make $15,000 on a flip.
Right.
Now,
yeah,
if you have an IQ of 150, you might make $32,000 on that same flip, but you're not losing money, right? So
that segues perfectly into the next bullet point. That's risk. First of all, risk is it's not just something that is quantified on paper. It is actually risk is each individual has their own tolerance for it. I have a very high tolerance for risk, which means I can potentially, I have the potential to lose more than a lot of people. But I just have I kind of have that attitude. I just kind of have an attitude of, you're not going to know until you get to the other side of this. Let's be calculating about what we're doing. Let's understand the difference between smart risks and being restless. Sorry, reckless.
Yep.
And some most of the time I fall like somewhere in between. To be honest, like you know, for example, if we're talking about house flips, it's like okay, I can go into a house and I can see the structure of the house. Maybe the layout of the house is not really you know trendy, or it doesn't kind of match up with what the rest of the houses in the neighborhood are going. And I'll go in and I'll go, hey, let's just tear out this wall. And someone might consider that reckless. That's a reckless thing to do. Um, but it's a calculated. It is a very calculated sort of a risk that I'm taking on that particular property, and that's just on the property level. I'm not even talking about the whole financial outlook. This is just a piece of that total financial future outlook. And so really just doing a little bit of your research and getting in there and getting your hands dirty, and um, taking some calculated risks. Like I said, that's different for every human being. Not every human being would do that. Not everyone would take the same risk that I would take, and it's totally fine. You got to be comfortable with where you're at.
And the last one, burnout.
Yeah.
This is kind of where I'm living right now, brother. Is in the little burnouts. Now, luckily, like, we're experienced enough and savvy enough that we can have a flip going, we can have a buy and hold new construction property we're trying to market, and we can balance the fun thing. Like, we're savvy enough to do that, but man, it's still wearing on me a bit. If I'm being honest, like, it's wearing on me. So you have to know your limitations as well. Like, you can't take too much on at one time. That's why, which we're gonna talk more about here in a second probably, but that's why you have to have good partners too sometimes that can help you navigate all the different things you're trying to do at once and still be successful while doing it. That being the key, right? So
yeah, and then the superpower is the ability to say no. Sometimes I think that might be the case with at least one of our projects right now. Um, you know, we have we're flipping 2 condos right now, and I was reluctant to flip one, by the way, but
kicking and screaming, yeah.
but the second one just popped up and it's like, I really don't have time for this right now. I really can't. In fact, I just turned down another deal, an entirely different deal. Um, didn't even look at the numbers on it, just because I know that my time, will not allow. I do not have the time to take on something else right now, and so uh, the ability to say no. I think people in this business, people in the industry, they respect you. They respect the fact that you say no up front before you go through and uh, and you maybe you run numbers on something, or maybe you're contemplating doing something. People don't want their time wasted. So um, yeah, understanding, being realistic about where you're at, and not getting into too many things is a definite superpower. Being able to say no is it will probably
save you more money than you think.
than saying yes on everything.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Now, can I just say something about that too? So the other gurus and stuff say, okay, well, now you're in a position where you got to scale up, man. You gotta, and that's probably true.
Mm-hmm.
But we're focused on scaling from the perspective of funding deals, which is why we created a fund. We're not focused right now on acquiring 6 more properties to deal with, which is fine, right? But that's not our focus right now. So we have to pick. You have to pick what you want to focus on, and that's what we're focusing on now. So we're saying no, or we're bypassing other deals we might have done, so that we can focus on this other one, which is the fund, which will then fund in turn many more deals in the long term. So it's a short term. Yeah, we're going to bypass that short term in order for the long term funding game. So that's what our goal is. Do that. But you're so right. It's like, okay, you just have to be able to let that deal go,
Yep.
right? Or pass it on to one of our students, and like, that's why we have students. That's why we have a whole community in there. Like we can pass it on. In fact, I'm getting ready to do a fourplex deal. I'm getting ready to send out and pass on to our students to see if anybody might be interested. It's just because I just can't just can't manage that at the present time.
Right.
So
Yeah, and there's a lot of people talk about about either partnering with folks um, or hiring out some of your tasks and things like that, which is I totally agree with. But I personally I like to run my business lean and mean. I think I've probably said that enough times as well. But um, a lot of that answer is it's just not. Sometimes it's just not tenable. Like sometimes you just can't. If I had to hire someone for every time I got stressed out um, about these deals or about something that has to do with my business, I mean, number one, my overhead would be insane.
yep.
Probably wouldn't have a net profit if I actually hired each one of those things out. But also, it it prevents me from growing. It prevents me from doing better and being a mentally tougher individual. At least that's the way I look at it. A lot of other folks might not look at it that way. Maybe that's their goal to scale a business to X amount of employees. I have zero interest in that. I would be the worst manager on the planet. I've had many VAs that I've hired throughout the years, and I've spent most of my time with those VAs trying to find more things for them to do, and it's like, okay, I mean, I guess that's fine. I guess you can kind of float through the VA maze and try and manage that. But I prefer to have partners. I prefer to have, and maybe not partners that I'm paying directly, but partners that there's a um, uh, coordinated effort by both of us for a better outcome that we both get paid on.
Yep.
And I just think that works out a whole lot better for me. I don't, you know, I just got back off of my second vacation here in a month, and it's like, would I have been able to do that if I had this massive or this larger company or this larger business where I had to worry about all these people? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe, but in order for that to be a success, you have to focus on scaling the business
Yeah.
and have it run the way you want to run.
Right.
And that takes time and effort. And it certainly is worth that if that's what you want to do.
There's
Again,
nothing wrong with it at all. There's nothing wrong with that at all. No.
again, we're just saying our focus right now is not on getting 10 more deals that we have to work on and do something, whether they're flips or buy and holds. It's to get the fund there so that the fund can have the 10 deals that benefits all the investors and benefits us. That's what we're trying to scale to
Right.
and move the business, right? Move the business. At the same time, though, talking about the Sub2 Empire ecosystem, right? We want to bring people in that can partner with us because we're there and we're about as mentally tough as, like, you're probably tougher, like dealing with I'll just say dealing with some of the bullshit that comes with individual real estate deals. And as I said, that's just the way it is, man. It's a property. It's like having a kid. It's a property. You have to deal with stuff in there too. Like, you're probably more mentally tough, but together we're pretty mentally tough about getting through this stuff. So we want to take people in on that side of it, partner with us, the Sub2 Empire Deal Partners program, right? And then turnkey it with this fund that we just created so that we can, it's taking the risk, right? It's mitigating your risk automatically by using our expertise and our money right? In the end, to get your deals done, right? It's like the perfect. We're trying to make that. I call it a turnkey system. I know you like that term, but like having taking all the risk, mitigating all the risk, and taking all the roadblocks out of becoming a successful real estate investor, right?
Yeah,
And that's
and
the goal.
yeah, being mentally tough does not also, by the way, so I'm keying in on what you said there, but the mental toughness does not come from um, ignoring your instincts, but uh, it is a matter or a factor of separating your emotions from your decisions, but not ignoring your instincts. Like, um, so if somebody came to you with a deal, and you know, when I'll just use this last deal for example. I got a call. Was I on vacation when that happened? Because I had a week there when I was back. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I had this deal sent to me, and immediately, I start getting that kind of excitement, that
Yeah.
kind of bubbly,
Okay.
like,
There are
yeah,
four ways I can make money on this thing. Yeah.
right. Oh yeah, I can do it, and then I it kind of trickles down to where I find, I kind of realize, well, I'm pretty busy right now. I don't think I get this done, but maybe I can help them get this deal done and still monetize this in some way. And then eventually it gets down to where my gut instincts kick in. I'm like, you know what? This is not going to work. I just don't have the time for it. I don't necessarily want to tell this person no, but I have to. I have to do. I gotta exit from this. I can't take on anymore. And you know, and then there's the argument that perhaps maybe if I had a team, like a hired team, that maybe they can manage it. And then I'm like, well, man, now I've got to go out and try and manage this team. I don't really want to do that. So what I choose to do is really surround myself with people that hold me accountable. And I think you're definitely you're a big part of that accountability. Like there are days when I get up and I come in and I check my email and I'm like, man, uh, I really don't want to do this today. Like I just would rather
Yeah.
just like I would
Take
rather
the day off.
not
Yeah.
deal with any of this shit today.
Yeah.
And then I realize, or I speak to you, or you shoot me a text or whatever, and it's like, okay, this is the accountability that I need. This is it's. I'm not saying that I wouldn't get up and do that stuff anyway, but it just helps to have a partner in that sense, and and I think this is also true for the deal partner program. I mean, we have calls for those folks 2 times a week, and if they're not on the calls, just like you've been kind of talking to some of the folks who have signed up and are maybe skipping the calls, you'll get on the phone and you'll call them. You're their accountability coach, and so um, it's the same thing I think with really anyone that wants to get into this business. Having the accountability, sometimes your personal accountability can lack, and it does help to have people in your life, whether those are mentors or your peers. It always helps to have someone that that can hold you accountable, because holding yourself accountable sometimes can, you get a little leeway, you get a little, there might
Get
be
a little
some,
complacent. You
yeah,
don't. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure,
It's human nature. Human nature.
yep, for sure. So,
Yeah. That's good. And I just want to say too, from money. So you do scale your business. You just do it through partnerships or joint ventures, however you want to portray
yep,
that, as opposed to having
it's true.
employees. So you're really
Yep,
doing the same thing, just in a different manner. So could
yep.
you make more money on any given deal, like if you had your employee or your VA, or like you said, doing this instead of partnering with somebody over there? Probably, but you then have to have the cost time. Let's just like saying it's the time. You have to have the time to train those employees or those people to do things the way you want it done. Whereas if you partner with somebody, like you don't have quite that much time invested, and that partner takes on some of those other duties over there and takes the time burden off of you. That's the whole point of doing the
Yeah, well,
partners.
those partners are, at least for me, and I think for you as well, those partners are already experienced in their craft. They already know. I mean,
Yeah.
the time to coach them up and to get them, it's no different than what we're offering in the Deal Partners programs. Absolutely no different. It's like, you know, those folks are hiring us because we're experts in our craft. We know what we're doing here. It's no different in my business. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna pick a partner, um, and I'm using the word partner, but this may be, this may be someone in the trades. This may be an agent somewhere that I want to partner with. It can be anyone, but the point is they're already skilled at what they do, and so I don't have to go out and coach anyone up. I just make them part of my team. It's like this invisible, um, it's like a bubble, and they're just in that bubble. And those are the people that I call from every single time I have something to do. One of those people, of course, is our the guy that we use to refinish the tubs in some of our rentals. Like, he's a dude that I call every single time. Um, I don't have to worry about it. He goes over, he takes care of the business. That's it. He sends me the bill. He's part of my team, and I don't have to stress out about um, where I'm going to go to source someone else like that. That's my guy. That's until that until something drastically changes or he retires. That's the guy I'm going to go to. So that's it. Um, and then the last thing I want to talk about real quick on the mental toughness side of this is, um, and we've seen this. We've seen this in. I mean, if you pay attention to any of the Facebook groups, you will see people, or you will have read about folks in this business that have, in fact, it's hard for me. I'm excited to talk about this, but uh, we've seen folks just completely just lose their minds and just run from these problems that they've created in their own business to the point. In fact, I know a guy. He's a lender here, who is owed. He's a hard money lender who he's owed so much money because the one of the guys that he started lending to, or one of the businesses he started lending to, they just over leveraged themselves. And instead of fixing that problem and pivoting and moving it into a different direction, this guy just could not handle the pressure, and he actually moved out of state, leaving this hard money lender with all these different properties. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, when things go wrong, and when they go wrong, they definitely will go wrong. You will definitely, probably, maybe not on a daily basis, but you will have you will have problems. You'll have issues in this business, with any business. Um, but learning to actually pivot and learning and exploring what else might be available to you, instead of panicking and doing what this guy did and moving to Texas or whatever the hell it was he went to, um, running from his problems, because now he's got much greater problems than he did, uh, if he would have just pivoted and involved that lender, um, in these issues. It wouldn't have been, first of all, it wouldn't have been public knowledge. It's out on Facebook, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I saw that too. I know
it's
that.
so
Yeah,
crazy.
it's just
But
like,
yeah, guys
yeah,
had
you just got to
real
be
problems.
honest with people. Like
Yeah,
the lender will prefer to just know what the hell is going on instead of being left high and dry. They may not like it, but okay, now let's sit down and figure out how we can
right.
make it work. It's just like you said. It's like we have to solve problems, right? Not
Yeah,
hide from them.
I'm going to equate this to, kind of a little bit off topic, but um, I think I don't know when it was we went. I guess it was I don't know, earlier this year. We went out to California. We stayed in an Airbnb out there, and it was less than stellar. Let me just put that way. It's a brand new Airbnb. It just wasn't set up correctly, and uh, we were missing things and stuff like this. And I'm sitting there. When you stay in an Airbnb, after you leave, there comes a time to review that Airbnb, and I was like, man, I really just don't even want to review this Airbnb. I just did not have a good time. And it was my wife that told me, she's like, you need to review them. You need to let them know everything that they can do to improve. And so I thought about it. I just, it took that little
You
kind of like a
you
little switch
are
of, and that little reminder from my wife. But that's exactly what we're talking about, is the accountability part of this is like what you're saying. If that lender, or if that borrower had sat down with that lender and told him everything was going on, everything's transparent out in the open. And so I actually did leave the review. I did, and I offered some suggestions for that Airbnb, and hopefully she's doing well. But at least it's all out in the open. At least it's all, at least we're everything is known now at this point. So probably totally irrelevant to this conversation, but I think it. I don't know. It just popped in my head. I was just like, that actually happened. So what you're saying is very true. All
so
right.
the next thing is, well, I think the next item is just some tips about how to stay
Ooh, yeah.
on track, right? Habits to stay motivated. So the first one is have a routine, especially like if real estate's your side hustle, right? And you have a 9 to 5 job working for the man, like when are you going to work on your real estate business? Like is that before you go to work? Is it after you go to work? Or hey, maybe it's during work, right? Right. And then the man might find out you're wasting their time. They're paying you to do real estate work, but whatever that looks like what is that routine? What's your morning routine? What's the evening routine? What are you doing to set yourself up for success and be diligent, right? Consistency is key. It's just like when you're trying to lose weight, exercise more, you have to be consistent and persistent, right? To do that. Same thing in your real estate business.
Yeah, I think that. In fact, I just saw. This has been a month ago or so, but I saw this. It was one of those shorts or reels, whatever they got going on now on these social media platforms. Um, but I saw a quote that talked about. Basically, it said, I'm kind of, uh, you know, shortening this up a little bit, but it said the mind and the body love routine. They love routine. So, let's say your routine is going to bed at 9 o'clock every morning, getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. If you do that every day, you will get more done. You will be more productive by establishing a routine than you will by trying to squeeze in time for this and time for that. If you develop a routine, it's like the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise might move a little bit slower, but the tortoise is definitely going to gain ground faster than the hare is going to, obviously tire out and get burned out. Kind of going back to the beginning of this conversation, talking about burnout.
Yep.
Um,
Another good tip that I do is you gotta do jam sessions, to use a term from another mentor guru, right? Success guru, is to use jam sessions, like 90-minute blocks of time where you're going to be very productive and you focus on nothing else. And by the way, I'll just say this: multitasking is a myth. Nobody's good at multitasking. Nobody. That's nonsense.
it is
The
not.
more screens you have open, the less productive you are. It's a fact.
Yep.
So just the jam session, your 90 minutes or 60-minute block or whatever that block of time is you have single task focus. I'm going to prepare 500 letters and send them off to be mailed, direct mailed out, whatever it is, right? You're going to focus on that task to move you forward. And then the question becomes is like, okay, as a real estate investor, I don't even know what those tasks are supposed to be. This is where you need to educate yourself. This is where you need to partner with people that can set you up with a plan so that you execute the plan. Don't stress thinking about it, right? Execute the plan,
Yep.
right? Again,
Yep.
so I'm gonna just shameless plug 63 for today on the guys, but that's where you can partner with people. And it doesn't have to be us. Like you can get education from all the ways, and you can get education from gurus that are dumber than you are. Promise you that,
Yeah.
right? You can find them on YouTube,
That's amazing. Yeah, it is very true.
right?
Um,
So just be careful with that. But
I want to point out that every single Friday morning, you and I sit down and we have a review session every single
yep,
week, track progress every single week, and we have done that now for what what, 3 years, maybe
Oh
four,
yeah. Oh
something
yeah.
like that.
No, since the beginning, well, not right at the beginning, but yeah, I'd say a good 3 years for
Yep.
sure. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, definitely a. I mean, there's many different systems out there for that, for learning how, if you don't know how to do this, many different resources and systems that you can pick up for reviewing. Shoot, even uh, Chat GPT or any of these other GPTs out here, or large language models, they can help you with that. Like my wife has been tracking her macros um, now for a couple of weeks using Chat GPT, and it does an outstanding job for her. So if that's what it takes, um, if that's what it takes, and I say go for it. I mean, I look at that as since I'm telling stories, I'm going to equate something like that to folks that want to start working out. You know, um, I've always said that whatever gets you to move, or whatever gets you to move your body and work out and get into shape, then do it. If that means buying if that means buying a new piece of equipment every couple of weeks to keep you motivated to use that equipment, then do it. But whatever you whatever you decide to do, you should you should have a routine for every day, and then you should have a weekly review um, on the things that you've accomplished and the things that you want to do for the coming days and the coming weeks. And then the other one, I actually want to show you this. Uh, I got this out for someone the other day. This actually hangs on my wall, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but um, this is all about time blocking. Um, there is a time blocking strategy. I actually created my own time block, but this is it's a little bit old. I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but this is a it's it's kind of, if you see down the side here, I see I tore it off my wall. Sorry about its appearance. It doesn't look the greatest, but you can see my times here. Like this is throughout the day. This goes all the way down to 10 p.m. And so I have my days time blocked out. Now, I don't stick to this necessarily every day. As things come up, something's going to have to give. But in an ideal day, this is what I would go through. Like in an ideal day, if I had my druthers, this is what I would do every single day. Of course, you get pulled away from things, but again, it's routine. The body loves routine, and so anyway, that's my offering on the. Maybe one of these days I'll I don't know, maybe throw it out there on the throw it out for people to download, what have you. But yeah,
For a low price of $7. That's right.
yeah,
The
yeah.
So we're all about free. We do podcasts free every week. This is education too. So there, but I think probably to just wrap it back, because we started this on Ken's diatribe about permits. So let's make sure we we circle it all back and just do the recap. We are really talking about how do you stay in the game of real estate investing long term, right? And so that means that you have to get over your doubts, you have to minimize your risks, and you have to get past burnout, right? You have to put things in place that get you past all those things, right? All of them are manageable if you want them to be. A lot of people come up with that first block, or like, I'm not smart enough, or like I said, that first rental property that the tenants left it, trashed it on the way out too, and I was like, shit, I'm out of the game. It's like, okay, but you're not getting your goal. Why did you want that rental property in the first place, right? You have to be able to overcome those things, right? And that's what to stay in the game long term and meet your goals. And maybe it's to get out. Maybe it's to get out of your 9-to-5 job,
Yep.
right? So that you have to have buy and hold properties, man. You don't necessarily have to be a landlord. Like we would prefer you to be a note lord, right? And seller finance your buy and hold properties, right? Which goes back to the whole fund model and all this, but all that. But you got to be able to be mentally tough to overcome those things.
Yep.
And maybe you need partners that help you do that. Accountability people, coaches, partners, whatever the case may be. here's the last shameless plug of the day. I promise you. Right? Partner with us. We can help you do that.
Yep. Yeah, and then I think the last section we talked about is developing good habits, rituals. You might call them rituals. You might call them routines. Um, yeah, just developing and this really all boils down to systems. Creating a system. Everyone thinks you guys just have systems for, for your business. Like you create this system. You know, when that particular scenario surfaces, you implement that system or you put that system into play. But everyday life, everything you do is a system or can be. Getting out of bed. I can tell you when I get out of bed, very first thing I do is I make my bed. That's just what we do. I get up, I make coffee. The system allows me to manage my time. It allows me. It allows for me to be able to get things done without really even having to think about it. And that's the good thing about developing these habits and rituals. What else? We got anything else on our list here?
I think that's about it.
Okay.
It's about you have to right, and we're overcoming our burnout right now. It's just
Yeah, that's right.
focus. We're renewing our focus and growing our business, like we talked about earlier. Like it's just in a different way. So that's what we're
That's right.
focused on right now.
That's right. All right, guys, go check us out over at Sub2 Empire. You want to see kind of what we do? Got plenty to offer over there. We are, as we've mentioned many, many times here, we are still, we've got the fund that we've fired up and still looking for investors in the fund. We're looking for borrowers, the whole 9 yards. So go check us out. And you got any parting words, Ken?
Nope. Have a great